Welcome to Ric Drasin Live. I am your host, Ric Drasin, and today, as always, we talk about nutrition, health, bodybuilding, fitness, and all the things that make your body work 100% of the time. You know, you have a downtime, you have a good time, but mostly we want to try to work good all the time. And I bring on guests from past in my life, and bodybuilders and trainers and nutritionists and people that can share their life with you and their changes in their life as well, and maybe make you a better person. And today I have a very good friend of mine I've known many, many years. I used to train at his gym. He's been on the cover of every muscle magazine for years. He won major titles. He did a complete transformation of his body, anywhere from 285 pounds down to a 200-pound ripped bodybuilder. And I'm really happy to present Steve Davis. My friend Steve, I'm so happy to have you here. So, let's talk about one thing before we get into your thing, because you brought this up. You brought up a very mutual friend of ours, Larry Scott, who just passed away about 2 weeks ago.
Right.
He was a top-notch bodybuilder. Everybody knew him.
First Mr. Olympia.
First Mr. Olympia.
Right.
He was phenomenal.
Right.
You were good friends with him. I had gone down to Santa Monica around, maybe mid-60s when I was living in Bakersfield, and I went down to the beach, and I saw him walking around one day. I knew who he was.
Right.
And I had just been training like a year. He had 10 years into it, and I looked at him and I said, that's my goal.
Right.
To look like that.
Right.
And I said, I got to get my 10 years in.
Right.
You know, like right now, I want to do it all in 10 months. And then over the years, of course, you know, he was always great. And then I got to meet him when I moved down here and had lunch a couple of times. Wonderful guy, Larry Scott. Look him up and Google him. He had a phenomenal body. And I was so sad to hear that he had passed away.
Right. From complications from Alzheimer's.
Yes.
But he was an interesting, very pragmatic in his training. He would train no more than an hour and 10 minutes per session.
Yeah.
And back in the mid-60s, we worked shoulders, arms, calves, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, chest, back, and thighs, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And then Sunday, we went to the beach and got tan. But he was a phenomenal specimen, probably had the best shoulders and arms of all time.
There's one runner-up, Don Holworth.
Yes, that's wider shoulders,
yeah,
right.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
But in terms of thickness.
Yes.
And
he had the face, he had the look.
Oh, yeah. You know, and he went out at champ. He won the Olympia in 1965 and 1966, and then retired. He wanted to go out as a winner.
Yeah,
and he did that. So,
but then he came and he made appearances and talks at some of the Venice shows, and he kept involved in the sport as well.
Right.
And he had a product. He used to send me samples of his protein to try because he had new products all the time. Right. But he trained at Vince's gym.
Right.
And he also followed the Rio Blair diet, I believe. Right. Which was the protein and cream.
Right. And he made protein and cream, and he made the preacher bench famous.
The Scott curls.
The Scott curls, or the preacher bench, which originally came from the Easton gym.
Yeah.
Right here in Hollywood, and then Vince saw it and thought he would make his own version of it, and so it ended up in the corner of Vince's gym. And when Larry was working biceps, you know, the whole gym stood still.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Well, you were training then as well, same place. All right, so let's talk about your transformation, because you have a picture that we have flashed up on the wall here when you were really, really heavy.
Right.
And obviously that wasn't the protein and cream diet.
No, that was the grilled cheese sandwich diet.
And the donuts. What inspired you to take charge of your body and change it?
Well, I was always 180 pounds since day one.
You were born at 180 pounds?
No, but I mean, as far as once I reached that level in high school.
Yeah.
And I read an article about a Mr. Universe from London by the name of Bruce Randall.
Sure, I remember Bruce Randall.
And Bruce Randall was about my size and went from about 210 to 305.
I remember this very well.
And trained very heavy, because when you weigh 100 pounds more than your competition weight, you're so much stronger with weights that the muscles are stronger, therefore you lift heavier weights, therefore the muscles get bigger. Right. So he went from 300 back to 220 and won Mr. Universe. And I thought, you know, that makes sense to me. So I made myself, and I didn't eat junk. I ate good food, but a lot of it, more than I needed to pack on the weight. And I went up to 285, and then it took me about 9 months to go back to 190, and then I got lucky on a few contests.
Well, the theory back then was to bulk up and gain size.
Right.
And so you ate a lot of food. I even drank a lot of milk to gain all the size. But what you don't realize in your mind is everything that you put on, you got to take off.
Right. Right.
You got a backside to that. So you've got to diet it down to get the muscle. You gain the muscle, but you gain fat along with it.
Right. Well, you just have to reduce the level of fat between the skin and the muscle.
Exactly.
And we're all ripped. It's just how much fat is between the skin and the muscle.
Our goal was to look like an anatomy chart.
Exactly.
You know, you have all the fibers and all the veins and all that, but
Right.
that's partly training, but it's a lot diet.
90%.
Yeah.
Right.
Why did you pick bodybuilding to do that? Why didn't you pick running or some other sport to drop the weight
I was bodybuilding.
at the time?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I went from 180 to 285 and then went back down.
And how many years have you been training now?
Well, I'm 66 and I started when I was 12. So
Did you get good results at 12? You're kind of young.
You know, I worked out in the garage
Yeah.
with a little Motorola radio, doing
Yeah.
my homework and listening to the Dodger games. I mean, it was great.
Don't tell me you had the 110-pound barbell set.
No, my mother was very nice, and she bought me a 6-foot bar
Yeah.
and four 25s.
Okay.
So I could actually, the 6-foot bar weighed 25 pounds.
Yeah.
So I had a 125-pound
Okay.
and a bench press
The reason I say that because every ad I ever saw for barbells was 110 pounds.
with the dumbbells, adjustable
Why can't
dumbbells.
it be 100 pounds? Why does it have to be 110? Then you got the collars, another 5.
Right, of course.
Did you train when you were training? When I was at your gym, of course, you owned Steve Davis Gym,
Right.
that you bought at the time from Joe Gold,
Correct.
who originally had World Gym.
Right.
So you converted to Steve Davis Gym, and I did your logos.
Thank you.
Remember?
Uh-huh.
You don't forget.
Do
me,
I
right?
still owe you for that?
Yeah, you do.
Okay. Let's talk afterwards.
I'll send you an invoice. That gym was a good gym.
Yeah.
That was a great gym.
Yeah.
I had some of my best results working out there.
Yeah.
The only thing that when Joe had, I don't remember you changing it, but he didn't have a heater, right? Did you have a heater in there?
Heater or air conditioner.
Right, and it was 110 in the summer.
Right.
And in the winter, I'd grab the dumbbells and they were full of ice. I ended up getting pneumonia. And they wanted to put me in a hospital. Of course, I didn't go because there's no weights there.
Well, when I first bought it, I was training with Albert Beckles.
Right.
And I remember one January day, he came in at the age of 68 or 70.
He's still 68.
Yeah. And walked in and grabbed the 100-pound dumbbells and laid down and did 10 reps in the bench press.
That's Albert.
At minus 20 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
But the equipment was phenomenal.
Oh, the best.
Joe Gold built it all.
Yeah.
And we had a great group of people there.
Sure.
It was really a lot of fun. You were training and competing then.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have if I remember, you had a gym in Valencia as well.
Right.
And that was prior to that gym.
Right.
Was that also Steve Davis Gym?
Valencia Health Club.
Valencia Health Club. Okay.
Right.
I remember all this. It's coming back to me
I
now.
started it. I met a guy by the name of Harvey Keith.
I remember Harvey.
And he and I were working out at Vince's gym together.
Right.
And we said, you know what, there's this burgeoning community called Santa Clarita. Then it was Valencia Newhall.
Sure.
And we said, you know what, and I actually, in reality, I was teaching school out there, teaching high school. And I had mentioned it to him, and we thought about maybe doing a replica out there. And so we opened a gym, copied all of Vince's equipment with his blessing, and had our own little thing.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
Now, your training then was really intense. I remember seeing you come in and you were trained hard and you were ripped and you had shows coming up. You really put a lot into it.
Yeah.
How has your training changed throughout the years now that you're not training like that again, but you're staying in good shape?
Right.
And you're not going heavy. We just talked about this. So people want to know, what do you do to stay in shape as you get older without damaging your joints? Because we've already done damage to our body. You know, training is supposed to be healthy. It's not that healthy when you have bad joints because it happens over time. So you have to readjust your training to suit your body needs because it's painful at times, right?
Well, we lose the cartilage
Right,
through normal wear and tear.
right.
And so therefore the bone on bone is painful.
Yes.
So the way I've adjusted my training is to, in essence, make a 135-pound bench press feel like 315. So by using less weight and concentrating on style and performance and a slow cadence, you're able to stress the muscles and not complicate the joints as much as you would with a heavier weight fast.
You know, that's really true. I didn't think about that till just now when you mentioned that. You can make 100 pounds feel like 300 depending on how you do it.
Sure.
I'll finish a workout and I'll go over to the squat bar and I'll take the bar here and I'll do push-ups against it, 1 foot forward, and resist going and resist coming with just my body weight.
Right.
But adding resistance to it stresses out the muscle.
Right.
And it works just as well.
It brings in more fibers
Exactly.
to work.
Exactly.
Right. And you look at the guys today that are training, they're all training in fast motion.
Yeah.
The real time is way too fast.
Very much so. And a lot of the younger group, I hate to say this because our parents used to say, what's the younger generation? No, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. They come in the gym, they lift heavy, they eat everything they can, they shoot as many drugs as they can, and they want to get big, and then they gain a bunch of weight and they lose a bunch of weight, and they're not doing it correctly.
Right.
I don't see anything being done. I don't see putting 5 plates on a bar to do shrugs doing any good. I can do 1 plate on each side and get just as much out of it.
Sure.
And they look at you, why are you so weak? I'm not weak, just don't feel like they need to do it.
Right.
So it's a different ball game. Is your diet changed from back then till now?
Oh, it's much better now.
Is it?
In those days, we ate meat and water, essentially, to get in shape.
Yeah.
High protein, low carbohydrate. And I think what's happened is that we've learned about diet and nutrition. And so now the basis of an intelligent diet, a diet that helps with our longevity,
right,
is one that's high in chicken, fish, fruits, vegetables, and grains. Mm-hmm. And to try to minimize sugar. That's the killer.
It is the killer.
Sugar. Right.
So I shouldn't have had that piece of donut.
That's okay. I wasn't going to say anything.
No, sugar is a killer. There's
Right.
no question about it. I mean, you got to eat right. I don't eat the quantity that I used to eat. The bulk. I can't. If I put down 3 chicken breasts 30 years ago, I can put down 1 now, maybe 1.5. I just fill up. Do you feel that way?
Right. Yeah, I eat more often and less.
Okay. You take protein supplements like bars and protein powders?
Yeah. And I found a very good source of protein is Greek yogurt.
I've heard this.
I love it. A container this big has 50 grams of protein.
Is it usable protein?
Yes, complete.
Okay.
Right.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, absolutely. Greek yogurt is much more protein heavy than your typical Yoplait.
Yeah.
So a good breakfast for me would be Greek yogurt with berries
Mm-hmm.
and flax
Mm-hmm.
and maybe some wheat germ. And then for lunch, I love my salads or my fruit. And for dinner, I guess I'm pretty much habitual. I like my chicken or fish and a salad and a yam.
When I trained at your gym, I used to stop at, I guess it was on Van Nuys Boulevard. It wasn't the seafood bowl, it was something like that. And every day I had fish and a little rice. So I switched my diet. For the whole year I trained at your place, one of the years, I did the fish thing for a whole year.
Uh-huh.
And I got really lean on it.
Right.
And it was really a good diet. I felt clean all the time with not having any beef, although I'm a beef eater.
Oh, yeah.
And chicken. But the fish just seemed to change me around a little bit.
Sure.
I think it was good. You don't have as many calories for sure.
Yeah, I have a million fantastic diets, recipes for tuna salad.
Really?
Oh, God, yes. I love tuna salad on a baked potato, in a salad. It's amazing.
Oh, that sounds good. You know what's really good? I told Ian about this, is tuna. You're going to laugh at me when you say this. When you have tuna and coffee, I know it sounds really weird, but drink some coffee and take a bite of tuna and then drink your coffee again. It makes your coffee taste like the real coffee bean. I don't know what's in the tuna that does it, but it makes the coffee perk up and have its own aroma to it. Isn't that weird? I don't know how they work together, but they work together somehow.
Okay.
Okay? All right. So that's neither here nor there, but I did try it one day, and it actually made my coffee better. What about your book? You're still selling your book?
Yeah.
And how do we find that book?
SteveDavisBodybuilder.com.
Okay.
And, we were talking about, both of us are dealing with joints that are less than youthful. And I'm contemplating a new book called Feel.
Okay.
That stresses performance first and weight last. So that youngsters like you and I, or even professionals competing in the Mr. Olympia,
Right.
can get more out of less, and therefore increase the density, the shape, the muscularity, and decrease the stress on the joints.
I think it's a great idea.
I hope so.
Well, you can go back to the theory that when people lift their weights and they drop them, lift them and drop them, you got a two-part deal going on there.
Right.
You bring it up, you let it down slow. It's constant tension on the muscle, and it's what you're saying.
Yeah, well, I think there's 3 parts of a rep. The positive,
Yeah.
flexing,
Right?
and the negative.
Exactly.
And if you count to 5 on each one, just to start and try it, I think you'll find when I first started a couple months ago, I was out of breath with a single set.
I can believe it.
Yeah, because what normally would take 10 seconds is now taking 25. And that's extra work.
Yeah, it's raising your heart rate.
Yeah.
So it's basically like a cardio at the
You know
moment.
how I learned this? The truth was when we used to do photo shoots. Remember?
Yep.
We'd do photo shoots with little tiny dumbbells.
Yes.
And Joe would say, all right, hold it, hold it, hold it. Shoot the picture, hold it, hold it, hold it. Or we would do it with the side raise, and you'd hold it and hold it. And how did we feel after the photo shoot?
Tired.
Big time sore.
Yeah, exactly.
So I started to think, well, Steve, you might be a little bit long in the tooth for photo shoots, but that was a good lesson to me.
Absolutely.
That after we'd go, gee, what a workout that was.
Yeah, there's no
So
question about
I
it.
think there's something brewing in what's left in my brain.
So if people want to
come up with
reach
a
you
book.
now, they reach you through the website, or how do they reach you? Because you've got a lot of fans out there. People are always, where's Steve Davis? You want to see Steve Davis?
Yeah, I think that's a good way, through the website.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, there's a website called evolutionofbodybuilding.net, which I just got on. They did some cross promotion with me, and they're doing a big article on you as well.
Really?
Yep. I'm going to send you the link because they're going to put this on there too.
Thank you.
They're really big, and they have all the legends of bodybuilding. And so you're the next one that's coming up with a big story. I'll make sure that you see it.
Thank you.
So what's your future plans now? What are you going to do? You're still doing what you're in real estate?
Well, actually, I've branched out now. I'm working in media and advertising for the entertainment industry, promoting movies in magazines that are sold or given free and large distribution points, like at supermarkets. Entertainment Extra, Entertainment Spotlight, and a couple of health magazines called Living Well and Happy Healthy Living.
Sounds nice.
Right.
You enjoy that?
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy to have you here. Now, I have to close this out with one thing, a tip of the week. Normally I give a tip on training. What would you tell the average guy, let's say 50, 60 years old now, who's out of shape and he wants to start getting into shape? What would you give him as a tip to do to get the ball rolling?
Is he already training?
Say he's not. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there who come to me and they say, God, I got to start going to a gym. I haven't done it all these years. I'm getting a belly on me. I don't feel good. I'm losing muscle mass. I really got to start doing something. Should I hire a trainer? Should I go to a gym? What do I do? Where do I go? I always tell them to get a trainer to start with, a good one.
In my humble opinion,
Yeah.
the first thing I would do is go to a doctor
Oh, for sure, that.
and have a blood test.
Yeah.
And see where your testosterone level is, where your thyroid level is, and once you get that dialed in,
Yeah.
then go get a trainer.
Yeah.
So I would start with the system before the work.
Yeah. Otherwise, you could have a heart attack.
Right. And as we get older, the testosterone level changes,
Of course.
the thyroid level changes, and I think to get the most out of your training, that you start by getting a checkup, just like you would with your car. And then from that point, tune it up.
You hear that, you guys? You want to get back in shape? You want to get in shape? Do what Steve says. See your doctor first. Absolutely. That's a very, very good point. I mean, before I buy a car, I'd have it checked out too, you know?
Right.
So it's the same thing. I want to thank you for being here.
Thank you for including me.
I'm so happy to have Steve Davis. I'm glad you fans have watched this. He's a wonderful guy. He's a legend in bodybuilding. He's still in great shape. He knows what it's all about. Go look him up on, it's the Steve Davis
Bodybuilder.com.
Bodybuilder.com. You'll find the website. You can reach him through there. You can reach him through me. And thank you for watching Ric Drasin Live. Stay tuned next week at 12:30 when I'll bring you more in bodybuilding, in nutrition, in fitness, in health, and how to grow your hair back just like I have, brother. And stay tuned next for news and weather coming up. Hi, I'm Ric Drasin. For tips on health and nutrition and fitness and bodybuilding and wrestling and all the stuff you want to know, subscribe to me on emPOWERme.tv. I'm on every Friday at 12:30 p.m. I'm looking forward to meeting you. And stay healthy.